to the webinar and give a brief introduction to one of our new members of the NSLP team. His name is Jax Dunham, and he joined us. He is I want to say somewhat recent graduate of U of I. He's soon to be dietitian. Hopefully he will be passing his test soon. And I would like everyone to welcome Jax to the child nutrition team. And with that, we will start the webinar.
Thanks, Lynda. Well, I'm going to briefly go through the agenda and then we'll dive right in. We have some pretty important information to go over. I'll start with some updates from USDA. Nothing new, everything's been sent out to you guys. Just want to briefly cover it. Briefly go over NSLP renewal for school year 22-23. Kind of skim over registration for in-person training for NSLP school year 22-23. And then I'll turn it over to Kat to go over some USDA food updates. And then Marianne will finish the webinar off with some SFSP and information regarding summer waivers. Moving to the updates from USDA, like I said, all of this information has been sent out via broadcast email. We just wanted to briefly touch on it and remind you guys about the transitional standards that are coming out on the Q&A documents that were sent out, as well as the memo about the Consolidated Appropriations Act 2022 effect on child nutrition programs. As well as that, a broadcast email was sent out, I want to say last week, regarding the proposed scientific questions for the Dietary Guidelines for America. That is receiving comments through May 16th. It is a little bit of a process to get that done, but it's pretty self-explanatory if you click on the links that were sent through the broadcast email. And lastly, more fun type resources that USDA has sent out was through, I want to say the Team Nutrition Grant sent out the webinars captioned in Spanish, or the 2 webinars listed on the screen, as well as the webinar recording for the transitional standards and the CACFP snack menu. This was also posted on the SDE website if you guys would like to reference that. Next, I will briefly touch on renewal. So quick reminder, and this is also on your dashboard when you log into My Idaho CNP. Don't go into your SSO site applications. We're staying in SNP this year. And then remember, this must be submitted June 30th, 2022. So please reach out to your assigned coordinator, or anybody will find the right person and we can help you get through that. And last thing for me would be our annual training. I did send out a broadcast email yesterday, just reminding you to go through our the CNP learning portal and register for your training that or the location that you would like to attend. We do have the pre-conference day for ISNA on June 13th. It's kind of a dual registration. You'll register for ISNA and then register for us, so we know that you're coming. But if you do have any questions, please reach out to us. If there's any questions about the portal, Sean's readily available, but we can all help you as well. And I'm going to turn it over to Kat.
Thanks, Jamie. So as we're talking about wrapping up school year 21-22 and preparing for school year 22-23, there's some important information you need to know. So let's talk about it. Most of you probably know that Brian Elwood left our agency, and his expertise of USDA foods will be greatly missed, and that's for sure. We certainly do wish him well, but he left big shoes for us to fill. So TG and I are working to ensure we can meet your needs while we work to replace him. So please be patient with us. There is a lot of information for this program that I am still trying to learn. TJ seems to be pretty good at it. We totally understand that districts were impacted by their inability to order many of the further processed items with the pounds they requisitioned for school year 21-22. However, with our reduced staffing, along came changes in responsibilities in our team that limits how we can manage all the available raw bulk materials that went unused. So by enacting the sweeps policy, we can consolidate raw bulk material pounds inventory and then only have to make one report to USDA for the raw bulk inventories over 6 months. Nearly all state distributing agencies implement an end-of-year sweeps policy as a way of managing excess raw bulk material pounds. So we will be doing that as well. We will send out a broadcast email when the sweeps tab on the exchange is available for school year 22-23. So please be patient. Again, you're not going to see it if you go out there right now. Make sure you do your due diligence to determine how many pounds you requisitioned in WebSCN for the coming school year. So for any pounds you ordered for in February and March, make sure you take that into account when you're looking at the sweeps tab. And when you do that, when you go into the sweeps tab, you'll order your product by cases and not by pounds. Gold Star Foods or Northwest Distribution Division, so GSF NDD, has committed to make deliveries in June for those of you who still have USDA Foods direct delivery inventory sitting at the warehouse. Keep in mind, we have always had a 60-day dwell time policy, so plan now to take your USDA foods. We know this has been a tough year, but let's finish strong. We believe in accountability and we want you to benefit from the entitlement value of your USDA foods. If donations of USDA foods are needed, you need to contact the USDA Foods team, again, me and TJ, and we'll provide some guidance on what is allowable and how to proceed. So preparing for school year 22-23, you can see the items on here, the CCC tab, that's going to be important. You'll see the new tab known as CCC for the upcoming school year. That is not open yet. You won't find it on there. And if by some chance we're in there working in it and you get on there and see it, please do not order anything in there. We will send a broadcast email when we're ready for you to start placing those orders. There's 27 truckloads that will be arriving in the state contracted warehouse between July 15th and September 30th. We will allow any district to place a reasonable claim for any or all of the 21 different products. We will be monitoring that. All RAs who claim those products must abide by the 60-day dwell time. In other words, claim only what you can use and what you can integrate into your meal plans within 60 days of arrival into the warehouse. If there is more available after you use what you claim, then feel free to claim again. Please do not stockpile as it takes away the opportunity for all other districts in the state. These CCC items are products that are ordered each year by our state, but they were not included in the WebSCM ordering catalog this year in early spring, which means most likely all schools would appreciate getting a fair share of what is available. These came to us with no cost to your entitlement, so we want to make sure we share. The school year 22-23 exchange will also include a bonus tab. Again, no entitlement charged. You would just pay the $398 case fees. The same rules as just mentioned apply here. 60-day dwell time, share the wealth, and have a plan to use it all. Come back for seconds if there is more available. The tab will include 3 items received from USDA as bonus products and the carryover of whole frozen eggs, which was the material code 100046 from the surplus tab from school year 21-22. The sweeps tab will feature all the pounds swept from Idaho RAs at the end of school year 21-22. Many of you plan to order further processed products with those pounds during school year 21-22, but found there were supply chain issues, shortages, and outages of many items. As discussed on the previous slide, do your due diligence and forecast only for what you truly need after you consider the number of pounds you requisition for school year 22-23. If you need products, you claim them as cases, and the state agency will transfer the pounds you will need to complete each case. But use those pounds by placing orders in IRIS for further processed items immediately. If you need more pounds, then you just claim more cases. One big change. You will no longer have the opportunity to surrender products, so please don't claim what you can't use and manage your inventory wisely. The redistribution of these products became an increasingly burdensome task for your USDA Foods team, and it became evident that the tab was being used to dump inventory that was not properly managed. Donating products, if you can't use them, is always an option, as we mentioned before, but it comes with documentation responsibilities and should only be used in rare circumstances. Please report any intentions of donations to the state agency prior to making arrangements. There are many moving parts to the process. Not using your USDA foods costs your program precious funds. Watch for WebSCM notifications. They tell you when your requisition products have arrived at the warehouse or if there were any changes to a delivery date, and know what you ordered by running the reports available to you in WebSCM. The USDA Foods team put a comprehensive WebSCM user guide on our USDA Foods and Processing webpage for your convenience. It's been up there for a bit, so some of the dates may look a little odd, but if you have any questions at all, please just let me or TJ know and we'll walk you through that. Right now, TJ is at ACTA, along with some other representatives from Idaho. So the team is always working to build a better USDA Foods program, but it requires active engagement from all of you. USDA Foods can be a great source of financial support to your school meals programs, and when we work together to improve the program, the children of Idaho benefit. Teresa Betleon, who is known to many of you, is nominated to represent the recipient agencies nationwide as a member of the ACTA board. And the state distributing agency awarded several new advisory council members and new food service directors a scholarship to attend the 2022 ACTA conference, which is currently in Orlando, Florida. So hello, everyone. I know if you are listening in, we know they will learn a lot and be a fantastic resource for our USDA Foods program in the coming years. And then we plan to have them share out some of what they learned at the upcoming ISNA conference, which is coming up in June. Speaking of the 2022 ISNA conference, the annual training will be held on Monday for NSLP portion, and that will feature just a brief overview of the USDA Foods program to ensure you know the basic benefits of participation as it relates to the entire school meals program. However, the USDA Foods team will be providing a 4-hour session where we will get down to the basics of all areas of operations and administration for the program. If you are a new food service director or have been struggling with understanding the mechanics of the USDA Foods program, please join us. We'll cover best practices that will ensure you can successfully manage your USDA Foods inventory, go through all the aspects of WebSCM, why, when, where, how, who, etc. Conduct some scenarios with real life situations, solve some puzzling issues many have experienced with the program, and will help you learn from your peers. We look forward to meeting many of you and for seeing some of our old friends in the not too distant future. And the last slide that we talk about is the USDA Foods team at sde.idaho.gov. It's really important that you use this email address. As I said, TJ is away at the ACTA conference. I'm the only one in the office right now for USDA Foods while we're trying to get Brian's replacement. So it's really important that you send the email to USDA Foods team at sde.idaho.gov. Both TJ and I see that. One of us will be able to get you an answer a little more quickly, hopefully. And that is all we have to say. We hope to see some of you at ISNA, and have a good day.
Hey, Kat, somebody just announced that Teresa did win
Nice.
the nomination. So congratulations to Teresa.
Definitely.
Well, thank you, Kat. And
Sure.
Marianne, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Good morning, SFSP sponsors and everyone else. I wanted to, for the next item, this is going to be specifically for our SFSP sponsors. As you all know, our SFSP sponsors, we sent out a survey regarding a potential update in our system called SFSP Meal Counter. I received many questions regarding how the system would work and how it would look like. And so I was able to request a video from Linked to see if they could provide kind of visually how the program or how the system looks. And so I was able to pull that from Link, and I would like to share that with you because as many of you are probably the same, I'm a very visual person. So I wanted to just share this with you all. We're still discussing the process if we want to move forward with this meal counter. But again, I wanted to just share this out to our SFSP sponsors so that, again, visually you guys can kind of see what this potential update could look like if we do move forward with it. So if you can all just bear with me, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm hoping the sharing of the sound will work as well. So hang tight for a minute. Oh, no, let's see, share screen 2. Okay. How come that is not sharing? Hold on just one sec. Okay. Are you guys seeing the video? Can I get a, okay, perfect. Jamie's seeing that. And then I'm gonna share the sound as well. So I wanna make sure. Hold on just a sec. Okay, share sound. All right, so this little clip, the video is about an hour, but the clip that I wanted to show you that will specifically show the meal counter, it's about a few minutes. So if you guys just want to hang tight, hopefully this will provide you guys a little bit more information on how the meal counter would look like, again, if we move forward with it.
Or sorry, fast forward to the end of a month, and we'll see just how easy it is, again, with that integrated system, to upload your claims.
All right, but for everyone, just to remind you, the first thing we're going to see is all these people volunteering. We're going to show the site experience, what they would come in and be able to do every day, just as their normal process.
Correct. And what you're seeing me now is actually log in with my cell phone. So I'm logged in as a site user.
My apologies. Hold on just one sec. I don't know why that video timed out.
Every day, just as their normal process.
There you go.
Correct. And what you're seeing me now is actually log in with my cell phone. So I'm logged in as a site user. And you can see Meal Counter has already figured out who I am. So they filled in a bunch of things for me. We're going to go ahead and serve breakfast. So we need to receive first. So I'll click the big receive button there under breakfast. And up at the top, you can see that there's no meals available. So let's go ahead and remedy that below. So Meal Counter is already providing a meal received date and time for me. That looks good. So I can start by adding in my temperature. Next, I'm just going to go ahead and indicate the number of meals received. And also, we had a few leftover meals from a previous day. And I went a little quickly there. Let me go back. So at the bottom, I'm clicking this next button in the lower right, the little arrow chevrons. So this takes me to step 2 in our process. You can see we've split up the meal count form into 4 really easy steps. So now we're on the meal served portion. And you can see up at the top real quickly, I want to highlight these are the tallies. And so we can see meals available is 20. That is the 16 meals we received plus the 4 leftovers added up. And you'll see as I start serving the meal, these tallies are really, really great because they do the math for your site folks. So they don't have to do them. So I'm just simply tapping the big plus button as I'm serving the child a meal. And you can see those tallies updating. Let's say I get to the end of the meal service. Maybe I have a child that comes to the line for a second meal. I can go ahead and log that. Once things look good, again, I'm going to tap that next button in the lower right. And here we're now on step 3 of the process. If we had any meals wasted or any meals that came to us incomplete, we could indicate that here. We'll go ahead and now move on again using that next button to step 4 in the process. And this is simply just going to show us basically all the important stuff that would go on that PDF so that we can review it. And once everything looks good, we can tap the Affirm button and then click the Submit button again in the lower right. Now I'll call your attention to the top of the screen. There's an alert showing up. That alert is telling us that meal counter servers have already received this data. Now I can also go down here and we can see a check mark next to the breakfast. So we know our job here is done. So next we're going to go ahead and don our sponsor hat, and we're going to look at the sponsor dashboard. Now I loaded this up previously, so that meal we served was breakfast for First View Elementary, and right now it's showing up as incomplete. But I'll hit the refresh button. And we'll see once the page reloads that the iconography now matches and that meal is complete. I can go ahead and click on it, and I can see the data that the site user, me a few minutes ago, just entered into the system. So I can see the number of meals available, for instance, here, and the number of meals served. So this is fantastic. It's basically in real time.
All right, and then the other portion of this video I wanted to share is what they're referencing as the dashboard, which is, I believe, the last step before the numbers can be submitted as your claim. So I wanted to show at least that section for you all. So let me just find this particular time frame that I think I passed it.
For anyone that's familiar, from Columbus Recreation and Parks. She said this from Columbus Recreation and Parks. She said this has cut back on a significant amount of waste given the real-time reporting available to us. So I'm going to go ahead and load my screen.
Yeah, I have to admit, every time you say Columbus Recreation and Parks, I always think of flipping that, and I think of the show, but
it took me forever to get it right. All right, so we should be able to see my screen again here, and I want to show you the PDF that Meal Counter will create. So this is going to look very familiar for anyone that's familiar with the meal count forms. And so every time a meal is served and counted, Meal Counter is going to automatically assemble one of these PDFs. And believe it or not, there's 44 discrete pieces of data on one of these sheets, which is a lot just to serve a meal.
Hey, Andrew, I can see all the little check marks and stuff, but you'd mentioned that people should be familiar with this kind of form, but this is not exactly the same as the standard USDA style form, but there was a good reason for that. There were some additional fields that we had added to this. Can you cover those as well?
Sure thing. So I'd like to point out there's really two major pieces here. One's pretty obvious. It's just legibility. Anyone that's used to seeing these forms, summer could be served in the middle of a park and there could be a, sudden downpour, so you could have just smudging or really a hard time just seeing some of these check marks. And on the flip side, you could just have terrible penmanship like me, and it just might be really hard to read someone's signature. So you're not really sure who served a meal. One of those new fields that you mentioned is this down here in the lower right. So this is a date and time stamp that's automatically added to the meal count form by Meal Counter. And this just helps with program integrity. It helps you see when exactly this meal count was actually reported. So next, I want to go ahead and show off one of, I think we've got about 7 reports in Meal Counter now. So this is the monthly sponsor meal count form. And essentially what this is going to do is it's going to give you, for your sponsor organization, a high level by meal type. And then below that, it's going to also break things down a little bit further. And underneath each meal type, it's going to show you how your various sites did. All this information and more actually can be exported into an Excel. So let me take this file here and open it up so you can see it.
Yeah, you're zooming in, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit hard with this to be able to see, but here you can see the various meals, the various sites, and all the data that would be added into those meal counts now aggregated for the month. So that's very, very nice for the sponsors. But the next thing I want to show off, they like even more. So this is the form archive button. And so when I click this, what's going to happen is, and it's going to take just a bit, Meal Counter is going to assemble all the PDF for my entire sponsor organization throughout the course of a month. And it's going to pack that all into a zip file for me that I can then open up and really have access to all my PDFs. Now this one's a little hard to see, so my computer, I'll just kind of explain it. So my computer has unzipped this file for me. And when I open it up, I can see every date a meal was served in its own file. So for instance, today I can go ahead and click on the 28th and I can see that PDF that I just created, or I can look back at one of the historical dates and I can see all the PDFs that were added there. So this is huge for them. Effectively, this replaces their file cabinet.
And so Andrew, that's one zip file. In the zip file, there are folders by day, and inside the day, there's those copies of those PDFs that get auto-created.
Exactly. And they love this. I mean, every time this gets shown off and sponsors on.
Okay, so I believe that was the end of the portion I wanted to share with you all. Let me stop sharing my thing here. So that was, again, a brief visualization of what the potential system will look like. Again, we're still, and I apologize, I'm going to pull up another document here. Again, we're still looking at all of our options, continually discussing it with Link and the rest of the team, really trying to figure out, anticipating all the pros and cons. And so after viewing that video, if you guys have if that prompts any other questions, please put it in the chat. If we're unable to answer it right now, we'll definitely get more information from you. Currently, the SFSP team and Lynda and Melissa, we're trying to set up a meeting with Link to discuss, our additional questions. And so the more we get information about this program, we'll definitely share that out with you. But again, as the people, doing the boots on the ground work, if you guys are thinking about if there's any concerns or questions, definitely please shoot that over to me, because you never know if we're just not thinking of any particular scenario. And we'll definitely share that out with Link and trying to work out those kinks, beforehand. So hopefully that was something that provided a little bit more information for you all. And so I believe the next topic we have, Jamie, is an update regarding flexibilities or waivers for this upcoming summer. So as you're all aware, Congress did not extend FNS nationwide waiver authority. All of the current nationwide waiver authority only permits FNS to issue nationwide waivers that apply to school year 21-22. With the exception of COVID-19 Child Response number 86, which is the nationwide waiver to allow SFSP reimbursement rates in school year 21-22, all other current flexibilities / waivers that sponsors are operating under now for school year 21-22 will end at the last day of school. On April 18th, FNS did deliver a live webinar to state agencies, providing an overview of statewide waivers available at state agency requests to assist program operators in transitioning to normal operations for summer 2022. Last week on the 21st, USDA did provide additional guidance regarding submission of individual state waivers. And according to USDA, state agencies and program operators may submit a state waiver for non-congregate feeding and or parent guardian pickup when congregation is limited due to COVID-19. Based on the COVID-19 community levels, Idaho's 44 counties are currently designated as low. In addition, school year 21-22 has been in person and planning for in-person summer school sessions this summer. Based on this information, the state agency is seeking further guidance from USDA regarding submission of a state waiver from a state that have a low transmission based on CDC measurements. Lastly, we are also seeking additional guidance from USDA on program operators submitting their own waiver to waive congregate feeding and allow for parent / guardian pickup. So as soon as we hear back from USDA and know more information, we will definitely share that out to sponsors. So please be sure to keep an eye out for any broadcast emails coming to your program contact. And we'll be sure to share more information as we get more updates from USDA. That is all I have. Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you, Marianne. And that's all of our agenda topics. Lastly, it's just time for Q&A. If anyone would like to unmute or enter a question into the chat. How are we looking, Lynda?
We've got a few questions. So one would be for Kat, and I'm not sure you'd be able to answer it. Will there be a preview of the CCC tab so we can plan and budget ahead before it's live?
So I don't think so, because if we open it up, then everyone can just get in there and look at it, look at everything that's there and start placing orders when we're not ready. What happened is TJ did send an email, I believe it was in February, and it listed all the products that were going to be on the CCC tab. So you might want to look at that email and that'll give you an idea of the products that will be available.
Thank you, Kat. The other question, and this may be more for TJ, is will the 4-hour ISNA boot camp be offered another time? For those of us operating summer food, it's difficult to get to ISNA.
Yeah, I don't for sure know if TJ's planning to do that anywhere else. I do know we're creating Powtoons, so I've already started one for the new ordering system, the Iris release software system. So we might incorporate that into some little mini bite trainings, the tiny bites, but I don't know for sure if she's planning to offer that 4-hour boot camp anywhere else.
Okay, well, we'll ask her when she gets back from ACTA. All right, this one is for Marianne for your meal counter. What's the cost for each district?
That is a great question. So as of right now, we are not anticipating that there would be any costs for the district or for the sponsors. Again, that's one of the questions that we're currently working out that we have ready to discuss with Link. And so once we know more information about that, we will definitely share that out with you all.
Okay, great. And the next question for you, Marianne, is will this be mandatory or just an option for schools?
Another great question. So we do not foresee this update as requiring our SFSP sponsors to partake in. Again, that is part of our discussion with our department as well as with Link. And so as of right now, we do not foresee it as a requirement for our SFSP sponsors to be part of, but we want to make it available. So again, once we know more information and we finalize our discussions, we'll definitely let our SFSP sponsors know.
Okay, thank you. There's one question in there that just says this has been heavily advocated by ACTA. I don't know what this is, so I can't answer that question. The next question is ISNA mandatory? No, it isn't mandatory at all, but it is a nice organization to join if you so desire. The next question for Marianne, have admin reviews for summer food programs been determined for this summer?
Perfect timing on this question. So the SFSP team actually finalized our review schedule late yesterday. So I'll be working on sending that out as a broadcast email to our SFSP sponsors. So keep an eye out for that email.
Thank you, Marianne. Have the admin reviews for next year been scheduled yet, and specific months? I believe they're talking ARs. Jen, do you want to take that?
Sure, they have been scheduled. The letters will be going out a little closer to the end of this school year, beginning of next school year, but it looks like the first ARs will probably start around October. But that's all the information right now.
Okay, thank you, Jen, and stay on for the next question. Will there be any guidance about how to fill out the PLE tool for next year? With meals being free this year, what data should we use?
USDA has not yet released the PLE tool for school year 22-23, but we are expecting one. They have told us it's coming. So although renewal is open, we'll just have you hold off on that portion. Last year, I believe the prices were, was it, now I'm gonna guess. I know some emails have come out, but generally the price increase is approximately 10 cents over what it was the previous year. So since price, the last 2 years have been free meals, you really need to be mindful about where your prices fall. Costs have gone up, supply chain shortages just mean that your costs are going to continue to rise. So really paying attention to that paid lunch price is going to be critical for your program operations. But as soon as a tool comes out, we will release that with some instruction.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Okay, clarification. The SFSP non-congregate waiver has been heavily advocated for at ACTA by all recipient agencies. As Marianne said, the waiver authority is state by state. USDA so far is not doing nationwide waivers, and it is tied to a COVID outbreak. And with Idaho being green, low transmission right now, I'm not sure that that could happen for the summer. Not sure. I don't know that is as of the day of this recording. Got to put that caveat in there. Okay, that was the end of the questions. Are there any more questions for the state for this webinar? Otherwise, I will thank you all for doing everything that you do and let you know that the next waiver, sorry, Jamie, you were too quick. When is that?
May
When is that?
25th.
May 25th will be our last webinar for this school year, and then we're going to take a June and July break and start up again in August. So watch out for the broadcast email to let you know when they are being scheduled. And I will give you, what is it, 20 minutes back in your day. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and thank you for attending the webinar.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.